Hey guys, I'm just jumping on to do a quick video. It's kind of cold out. I don't know if I'm gonna do a reading, but I'm gonna try. But that'll be on a different one. So I just wanted to do a little chat on, when we're coming back into reincarnation, where we believe in the karmic cycle, the ties, things like that, and seems like there's different perceptions about it, concepts. And from my own true experience, from what I know about going home through my death experience, um, and then as I continue to work on myself, more information comes. So how I actually see it, because I was watching a video where a lot of people say, well, we're not really forced into coming back, but and then other people are like, yes, we are forced into coming back. But it really boils down to the what you call the life review, right? Because you have, of course, our experience here in life, the things that we do, we experience. We can be mean and angry and hateful to others, or we can be loving and kind. Um, and part of the life review is that when we go home and we do the life review, to recount our actions in being what we've done here as our person in our experience, we do a life review when we go home, right? When we die, basically. And so in that's kind of where it determines whether we come back or not. Now, whether we are forced to or not, it's not really that we're forced to come back. However, because when we go home, it's love, right? Whereas it's not here. Not that you don't love others, but we're not in the same type of love as we are when we're home. So we're not really being forced, but when we do the life review, because we're in a different energy and vibration of love as where we are here, it determines our actions and reactions to the situation when we see it from that point of view. So we have it from this point of view, and then we have it from that point of view, which is true love, right? So when we're in true love and we're looking back on time, what we've done here, we actually feel bad in doing it, right? Because we are then of source love, right? And so it's not that we're forced to come back, we choose to come back. It's because the accounts that we take to ourselves, we're not judged at home, we're judged here in our actions and our doings. So it's not really that we're forced to come back. We do the life review, and that's what keeps us coming back as a continuum of life, to keep continuing to come back and to evolve through the different situations, the different scenarios, this different beings who we are from the beginning of time till now. So it's really not that we're forced, but we have choice, right? Because if you think about it, where we are here now in this time and space and reality, if we're hurting somebody's feelings and we're not aware of it, right? And we blame other people and we're not kind, not to ourselves or others. We may not be aware or in consciousness of it. When we go home, if we do the life review, we're now being stripped of what we have here because we're bathed in love. So when we look at something from the space of love, we account to ourselves. So it's not really being forced to come back. We're accounting to ourselves, right? From where we were here now in the time that we're creating, from the space that we're in the human form or whatever form we're taking. So we're accounting to ourselves when we're there because we're bathed in love there. And when we look back and be like, oh God, I did that. So we're looking from the space of source, when we're in that state of consciousness, because source is consciousness and we're in the human form or whatever form we are here as in awareness. So there's the consciousness and then the awareness of the consciousness, right? So there's the two. And when we're in that space, looking back at the life review from that perspective of being bathed in love from the higher consciousness, and we're giving the option to come back or not, right? What do we choose? Put yourself in the frame of reference of source love, looking back at your life of what you've done. Now, are you going to come back and choose to either redo it or play a different role or different part in it in order to have a different experience or to change or shift that consciousness and awareness? I can do it better, or I can do it differently, and I'll go back and I'll change it. So we take on a different character, a different role or position or perception in order to maintain that of what we're seeing from the other side of love, when we're from the other side. So it brings us back into the awareness of where we are now. So it's almost like this creating of this cycle. People will call it karmic, because people want to say, oh, we're coming back to experience what we've given to other people. However, it's not karmic in that way, right? It's the observance of ourselves in the way that it is that we've been to ourselves and others, that we're seeing in the life review, and so we're correcting it. We're not actually doing it to come back and have that done to us. That's incorrect thinking. It's that we are coming back to change and shift that consciousness into a different awareness, if you will. So it just needs to shift how you see, the cycle of evolution. It's not really, karmic as, you did bad, so you're going to get bad. It's not about that. There is law of attraction, and, you get what you put out, but also in that, right, it's not really about reaping, right, per se, as in a negative way. It's about changing the karmic ties, if that makes sense. So it's not really about, I did bad to others, so I deserve to be bad, or have bad being done to me. It's not about that. It's about looking from a different perspective, which is source perspective, when you're over there after you've been here, and then accounting to ourselves of our being. So that's changing the form of presence that we are now in the present moment to something else, which is aligned unto source, right? So one way that we can negate having to do the life review or having to come back, and having to change that is to be present now in this moment, in this time, and just be love, right? Just be centered, be present, and not respond in certain ways, and just be kind to each other, right? Because otherwise it's like a loop. We come back and we come back to change that. So it's just about change. It's not about being done to you, as a karmic, as a harmful, or, in that kind of perception. And that is kind of how a lot of people want to look at it, you're going to get it because you did it to me, or what, you know what I mean? And they kind of put this negative attitude or perception around it, but it's really not. It's about evolution, right? And moving through and changing, because what we do affects everything else, right? And so it's a different perspective to kind of look at it. And one way to ease the karmic ties and being accountable to ourselves, and to come back into kind of do it from a different perspective or a different experience. And because it's really not replaying it. We don't really replay because we are always new unto ourselves, right? So we are never in the same place as we were. We're just looking from a different perspective onto ourselves. So we're not really replaying it out like karmic ties, like people want to believe it is. We take on a new perspective of it, right? Seeing from there, and then we come back at a new level of awareness, right? And so we have it from that perspective, because there's never nothing the same. It's always different person, always different experience, but it's a different way of experiencing and doing, and, bringing different change to it. So it's all about change and evolution. So we're changing our karmic ties, which is the reason for coming back, right? So it's when we're on the other side that we're seeing from the perspective of source. And when we are in that space of love, because it actually, once you're cleansed of here and you're on the other side and you're cleansed and you're back into love, right? You have a different perspective. So when you look back at the life review, you're like, oh God, I shouldn't have done that, or this and this. And then you feel bad, or you're seeing how somebody else is going to be affected. And then we're like, okay, let me go back and change that, right? So it's always about change in the evolution of, you know, what has been of the past. So that's what that is. It's not about, you know, getting back at somebody or, you know, getting even, but a lot of people want to put it like that, right? So, and it's just having that awareness now. That is one way of getting out of, you know, of course, having to come back and do it, is just to be present now in this life, right? It'll save you a lot in the long run, you know, is making different choices now, being present. How am I responding? How am I showing up? How am I being in my life? Am I sharing? Am I being love? Am I being kind to myself and others? Am I seeing them as myself as I am with source? Am I seeing through the eyes of source? Am I seeing through my eyes of my human, right? Or what I've been subjected to in my past, right? And my traumas, my hurt, my ego. And that kind of will help shift that, you know, if you're not wanting to come back here and to replay it out, you know, from a different perspective, in a different form, you know, because we do have choice whether we come back or not. But, you know, at that point, you know, whatever happens from that point is really up to you, because we do have choice, like I said, to come back or not. But that is one way to kind of shift that without having to go through that whole process, because we do go through a life review when we go home. I went through it and I was looking at it. And then when I came back, I also did a life review because I did a shamanic journey, right? And so I was going back through it. Now, when I came back, a lot of stuff was removed from my mind, my remembrance, so that I can continue to be in the form. But as I've been in the form working on myself, a lot of things have been coming through, and the awareness and the change and the shifting. So like I said before, I'm a totally different person than I was then. So with that, you know, the other thing you can do is do a life review now and change that, right? And that's very easy to do. Those are two methods for you to change, heal, and shift the karmic ties that we're accountable to ourselves. We're the only ones that are accountable. Nobody tells us we have to come back. We're not forced to come back. But in the life review, we account to ourselves to come back and to reenact or rehash it or to re-experience it from a different perspective. So one, like I said, way to cut down on that and having to do that if you don't want to come back, or you're wanting to go to a different place, time, space, reality, and create something else and different, of course, you're going to want to be present in the present moment and be very mindful about how you are here now, right? The other way to do that is to do a life review now, right? So in doing a life review now, what you would do, okay, let me look at my past, what I've done in this life, right? And so anywhere you may have awareness that you have caused hurt or pain and suffering to somebody else or yourself, you want to do self-healing work, right? And that helps to limit what is the experience on the other side when you go there. Not only when you pass over, you know, you are re-experiencing what you may have experienced or done here, like I said, in the life review, but also, you know, if you're unable to forgive yourself for what you've done, then you suffer that until you're like, okay, I'm coming back, I'm going to redo it. You know what I mean? So you do have that from that perspective, because when I experienced it, it was like my consciousness shift. And because I was taking on, I was no longer this lower form, I was taking on the love from source. And as my looking back on the experience, I was able to be like, ugh, you know, yeah, I shouldn't have done that, you know, or I should have handled that in a different way. So when you're doing your life review now, it helps to change and shift that later. And so it undoes everything that you've done up to this present moment. So say you hurt somebody's feelings, you want to apologize, right? Okay, what is my part in it? What have I done, or how have I not seen from my perspective? And how am I related to this? Because every time you do something like that, that's not of love, you're actually creating this tie that you're going to have to deal with at some point, right? And I mean, you can not deal with it in this lifetime, but that kind of, like I said, when you go home, you're going to have to do the life review. So, right? So why not do it now, right? And that's what I've been doing since 2010 in my awakening, right? I've been doing a lot of self-work. I did a lot of healing of myself, and I did a lot of healing towards others, right? And so I have been through a lot in my life. And basically, like what I did was those that I could write to and, you know, or speak to and apologize face to face, I did. If I had to write a letter and send it to them that way, I did. If I couldn't, you know, I guess speak to them or write to them, I would still write it and get it out, and then I would burn it. Right? So there's different ways that you can do a life review and heal and transform that situation. But we really want to be mindful about what we're doing, not what they did to us, right? But a lot of people want to be like, oh, well, this is what they did. But you have a part and role in it too. So we want to look at what we did. How did I make them feel? Yes, they made me feel this way, but how did I make them feel? Because you don't have one without the other. There's always an action and then a reaction. So when somebody's saying, you know, I don't know, I'm the victim, but you're not, right? Because you've done something at some point along the way, whether it was this life or a past life, that has resurfaced again for you to have this experience. So where am I going? I'm going back to the set point of that seed that was planted, whether it's this life or a past life. So doing past life reviews, doing past life regression, do meditation, do self-healing, eat healthy, do yoga, do meditation. These are all tools that will help you do the shifting of consciousness, right? And to help negate having to do the life review, you know, once you're home and then wanting to come back, because we are our own judge and then our own resolve. So as I mentioned, you know, we're accounting to ourselves, nobody else, and nobody else forces us to come back. And I know some people have that view. I was actually watching a YouTube video where this one lady was saying, you know, we're kind of forced to come back, but we're not, right? We do the life review, and then because otherwise we're not able to get to different levels or awarenesses on the other side, right? Because we have to move past that. And if we can't move past that, then we're not a match to the other consciousness that are available to us at that point. So from where we are here is transforming the energy from what we've created in this lifetime. So again, those are some tools for you. You know, if you did want to get started on that, meditation, eating healthy, yoga, doing your spiritual practice, and this is not religion, right? It's spiritual practice. Tuning into yourself, meditating, questioning, asking for help. Ask your angels and guides to help you. Whoever's there to help you do the life review in this lifetime, they'll help you with that. Do some writing, journaling. Ask people for forgiveness, right? Say, you know, let's sit down and have a talk. You know, I've become aware of the situation that I have created and I am sorry, right? Be okay with saying sorry, right? It's not, and yes, people may have done stuff to us, but what is our part in it, What is the reaction from them that has created? Why did we do what we did, which invoked, the response from them, and vice versa, right? Because there's always two in the role. There's never just one. It's never just one. But a lot of people think it's other people and not me. So take a look at those. Those are tools and tips, which I myself have gone through. And so, like I said, I've had the experience of the life review after death, after coming back, and doing my own self-healing. And so I'm kind of at the place now where, like, I don't have the attachments and the ties to that anymore, because then I don't have to come back and do that later, right? Do it now. And you can do it now. It's just that you don't, if you don't, it's because you don't want to, or you don't have the awareness to do it. So I hope this video helps you with that. If you do want to do a session, let me know, and we can, maybe do some review together and help you out and structure how you would do this. And so that way you can transform it and then enjoy more of your life now instead of suffering, because a lot of our ties in our life that we suffer, right, we're experiencing, we just don't know it's tied to that. When we have things that we've done, or we're hurt in the heart and we don't heal the heart, a lot of times we'll have a heart attack, or we have pain, chest pains, it becomes physically manifested. But when you heal and change that energy and vibration, because energy becomes solid, right, you end up feeling it physically. So when you have physical ailments, things like that, there's an attachment to something that's been created that's not related to love, right? So, if you have any suffering, just work on it, see where it comes from, get to the seed, get to the set point, get to the bottom of it, not what you're seeing, because that's just the fruit that has come from the seed, if that makes sense. So yeah, let me know if you want to do a session, and we can kind of go over, how you can go about it, what resonates with you. I just gave, I gave you some tips and points there. You can write letters, you can speak to them in person, you can send it out to the universe, because everything is energy, right? So however you feel comfortable with doing it. Of course, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where it's going to create more. You want to do it in a way that's going to unravel it. So when you do the life review after you've passed over, you'll be able to say, okay, I did recorrect that, or I did account to that, or I did transform that in my life. So, it's not something I really need to go back and do. I can move on, from this point into something else, because we don't ever be in the same place as we were. We only are from a different point of view from the moment that we're being now, if that makes sense. And then the book does talk about that, but I don't think I'm going to do that at the moment here. I might do it a little bit later if it starts to warm up. But yeah, if you're wanting to, do a life review, you can, reach out to me and we can book a session. I think I'm actually might do a class on that, or like a small group, people, just to start doing it and see how that goes. If people are interested in it, just reach out to me and we can book a session for coaching, or, just stay tuned, like, subscribe, and share. And I'll be making announcements, if I'm going to start doing groups or not. All right. Thank you. Happy journeys.